What's going on? What's up, everybody? My name's Dave Van Vorst, and I am freaking tired. So I wanted to put a video out. Today's Friday. You're going to see this video probably Saturday, but I wanted to put out a video today of the first night working on the car, even though I didn't really do much. I wanted to put out that video today to keep you guys up to date. So I got done at midnight last night, but then I went home. Got home about 12:30, and then I wanted to edit a video. So I think I went to bed at like 2:30 and had a client at 6:30. So Dave's running on low sleep right now. Anyways, we are headed back over to Joseph's right now. I only have about an hour and a half, 2 hours to work on the car. And so watched a couple videos last night while I was up editing before I went to bed. And pretty much we've got to remove the starter and the motor mount on the passenger side. Completely remove the motor mount. So that's going to be the goal right now before, because like I said, I got like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So the goal is to remove the starter, remove that motor mount, and see if we can start accessing the rest of the nuts on that passenger side header. Also, they say you have to remove a few studs, which I don't know if Joseph has the right socket to remove studs. It's like an E8 or something like that, so I might have to go pick that up. Anyways, that's my goal, is to remove those two pieces before I go back to the gym. Then I'll go back to the gym for a little bit and come back to Joseph's for the afternoon for a couple hours to work on it and maybe start working on actually removing the header. And then I've got to go back to the gym pretty much not all night, but from like 4 to 7:30, and then spend a couple hours tonight at his house working on it. So hopefully we'll get the passenger side header off today, because I really want to start working on the oil pan, because that's going to take a while. So we'll see you guys over there. Oh, how could I forget? Who's banging today? Alright, so to jack up the car properly, pretty much going to screw these 2x4s together. I gotta cut this one so they're the same length, but pretty much it's gonna sit like that, and this little piece is gonna go in between the pan and the transmission so we can jack it up properly. So I'm gonna cut that one real quick, and then we'll screw these together, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so we just got the cat out on this side. Now we can get the starter out, and then the engine mount can come out after that. It's already unbolted. And then that should give us access to this shitty ass passenger side header.
Everyone know that you got you a Corvette. Whoa.
So you can see how much room we have now that the motor mount's out and the starter. Alright, so things are already moving a lot smoother than last night. Didn't have much time last night, plus it was pretty late, but you do have to remove the starter as well as the engine mount on the passenger side to get room to the header, because now there's tons of room. It's really easy to get the bolts and the nuts. So I've got about 2 more to get, and I believe we do have to pull some studs out, which shouldn't be too bad, but I'll get pulling on those when I get back. I'm just running to the gym real quick. I gotta train one client, and then I'll head back over and start knocking it back out. So we should have the passenger side manifold off here when I get back, so it shouldn't take too long, and then we'll probably start working on the oil pan. But I'm gonna put a picture up here of the little jig you need to make in order to jack up the engine to give you enough room to get the engine mount out. So that'll help any of you that are trying to remove the passenger side manifold. Alright, there's the passenger side header. So much room in there now. We did actually have to move some AC lines out of the way. You don't have to do it that way, but with how the manifolds come, they come like this way and up. You'll see it once we start mounting them, but you gotta move the AC lines out of the way. So unfortunately, I had to discharge the AC and move the lines out of the way, so we'll have to recharge that. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but we'll definitely get around to doing that eventually. But we did have to discharge the AC to move those lines. So, there it is. So right now we are draining the oil so we can drop the oil pan so we can tap that. Also ordered 11 gauge aluminum. So this is a lot thicker aluminum for the exhaust. You can see this is 16 gauge. This is for the intercooler piping, but we're doing an aluminum exhaust. So we've got two 90-degree pieces of 11 gauge aluminum. It's a lot thicker stuff, good for exhaust systems. All right, so we're working on dropping the oil pan right now, which you actually have to drop the K-member. So we're loosening up all the bolts up here. We've got our supports over here. This is what you gotta do just to take the oil pan out. So we have dropped the K-member. It's pretty crazy, you can see inside the crankshaft where it is. You guys can see the crankshaft in there. So we've got this K-member pretty far down and the oil pan's still not all the way out. So what we may have to do is actually move this steering forward, but we'll see. And there it is, the oil pan is out.
What the fuck?
Alright, so we have a small setback at the moment, which I kind of knew this was coming. But if you guys don't know, the 2018 and 2019 Mustangs have a plastic oil pan, and we need to drill and tap that to have an oil return line. Now, what a lot of people have done is either get a Moroso oil pan, which by the time you get a windage tray and gaskets for it, it's about $700 to $800. The other thing people are doing is running a scavenge pump, which is probably like $400 to $500 depending on lines and fittings. So you could run a scavenge pump. That's what a lot of people are doing, because you need either a gravity feed. So if the turbo's up top, then you just have an AN fitting and a line going down, and the oil just gravity feeds down to the oil pan. If you don't have that and you want to run a return up top, you need something to pump that oil because it won't go anywhere. There's no gravity pushing it. So you hook up a scavenge pump. The thing that we're worried about with drilling the plastic oil pan is that the windage tray is riveted in there, and so we can't completely clean the oil pan. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some brake clean, and we're gonna try and clean the oil pan as best as we possibly can, try and get it dry. That way when the metal shavings get in there, they can just fall out. So we're gonna clean the oil pan as best we can, try and get it dry. And then we'll drill the hole with the oil pan upside down so that the shavings are falling down when we're drilling it. And then we'll take some oil, put it through the pickup tube, and then put it through the oil pan, try and flush out as much as we can, and then we'll brake clean it again and try and inspect and see if we see any plastic shavings. So fingers crossed, this could blow the motor. Kennedy, thoughts? Send it? She says send it. She said you're gonna build the motor eventually anyways.
Yeah, who cares?
The problem is this is gonna make the motor go kaboom in like probably a couple days or a week or something. So
well, then you'll know it's that.
and then we'll know we messed up. But we're gonna try and be really thorough and clean the oil pan out as best we can. We had to drop, as you guys saw, we had to drop the whole entire subframe except the front two bolts. It's been such a pain in the ass just to get this oil pan out. So I highly recommend, if you're gonna turbo your Mustang, either get a metal oil pan or get a scavenge pump. Don't waste your time drilling the plastic oil pan. It's just probably not worth the risk. But I already have the fittings, we already have the oil pan off, so we're gonna send it. So this is gonna actually end part 2. We're going to Walmart to pick up some brake clean, but we're not gonna get working back on the car till Sunday. You're gonna see this video probably on Saturday, I bet. So part 2, if you guys didn't hear me talk about it, I slightly mentioned it, but the problem with the CG Fab Kit is that one of the AC lines gets in the way with how the turbo headers run. So you actually have to rebuild one of the lines for the CG Fab Kit, and then the problem is you have to recharge it with the more expensive refrigerant, which is like $800, and you got to build the new AC line. So I wasn't going to tell everybody because I know what people are going to say, but I just said, screw it, let's pull the entire AC system out, and we're gonna send this car. So, whip-de-doo, the Mustang doesn't have AC, but my Turbo Civic I had in high school didn't have AC, my Evo 8 didn't have AC. It doesn't bother me because, and those cars I daily drove. This car is gonna be pretty much a track car. We're just gonna take it out on the weekends. Kennedy's freaking out over here. She wants AC. She can already feel herself sweating from the Texas heat this summer.
It's really hot.
But for me, the car's gonna be more of a track car. I mean, you can drive it on the street. You don't have to have AC. A lot of cars don't even come with AC. So you don't have to have AC. The car doesn't need AC. It's not a daily driver. It's taking weight off the front end. I know it's a brand new Mustang. It's a 2018, but we're gonna send it. So people can say it's not a street car, blah, 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 whatever. Having AC does not make it a street car. It's just a nice amenity to have. There wasn't always AC in cars. Kennedy's freaking out over here. So that's the thing on the AC. If you guys don't think it's a street car anymore, I don't really care. All the street car classes don't require AC, so there's a fact for you. Make sure you guys always comment, like, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram with Snapchat, Bambi39. This is ending part 2. We'll see you guys on part 3 next week. We're drilling the pan. We think we overcomplicated it. So now we actually, thanks to Brady.
No, who came up with this idea at the front?
Yeah, but it took you 5 hours. Brady comes for 5 minutes and we figure it out.
Yeah.
So, Joseph
Who came up with the front
said
idea?
to drill in the front, actually. I don't know why we were going on the side, because the windage tray stops or starts back here, so we have plenty of room to keep it clean.
You gonna hold the pan?
Yeah, he's got a vacuum.
Taking
I
over.
need somebody to look from that side and tell me if I'm straight.
Wait, so why are we why are we drilling so that the stuff's going that way? Don't we want to do
Because
it?
you got to drill. You can't drill sideways accurately.
Like you can put it above you so it's level?
True, you probably don't want to drill it.
Because I'm thinking like all it's just going to go straight down no matter what.
Brady, you're dripping oil, buddy. Oh, there's some
Oh,
up there too.
oh, get it, get
Don't
it.
step in it, David.
Oh, David.
Wipe your ass, Kennedy.
Wow.
Dean's
Not on
favorite
camera.
towel.
Do you have any?
Race car. Race car. Race car. Race car.
Wait, what did you say? Oh, shit.